Hey, Lauren here, wanting to talk to you today about sex and your cycle. Did you know that you can be and feel different throughout the four different stages of your menstrual cycle? And your libido can be different, and the way that your orgasms can be different as well. And since learning this information more than 5 years ago, I've felt a sense of liberation because we women aren't one and the same every single day. And this knowledge has given me the permission to understand my libido and work with it rather than just expect it to be turned on and interested in sex at times where it probably just isn't. So this is all about going with the natural flow of your body rather than us telling it how it's going to flow, which doesn't really make sense. But it's something that we fall into and default into regardless. So when I gave myself permission to not be turned on all the time, it's like I could exhale. My life had a lot less resistance. And now when sex is propositioned, I can check in with where I'm at in my cycle, and if it's a yes for me, then I can start to tweak what I do in sex to make sure that I feel most comfortable and most receptive throughout it. So the first phase I'm going to talk about today is your follicular phase, which happens just after you bleed. And in this phase, we notice an increase in energy levels and an increase in our creativity and our ability to be flexible. So it's a really good part of your cycle to take in new information. So with that in mind, it's the best time in your cycle to start to try and do new things in sex. It's your time to try a new position or a new type of breath work or a new role in sex. Just whatever you're curious about, because you're feeling pretty dynamic in this phase. And my guiding question during this phase is, what can I learn? What problems can I solve? Because I feel the least sensitive and the least vulnerable in this phase. I just feel really proactive, and it means that if I see that there's a problem, I just want to go in and fix it, rather than letting a sense of powerlessness or worthlessness take me down a bit of a rabbit hole. So it's your time to try something new. It might just be that you have sex a bit earlier in the evening than you usually have it, say 8 p.m. over 10 p.m. And that can be enough just to shake things up a little bit. After your follicular phase, you go into your ovulatory phase. Rawr. In our ovulatory phase, we are pretty primed to have sex because biologically our bodies want us to procreate and to reproduce. But that aside, even if you don't want a baby, your body will probably be feeling the most open, the most lubricated, the most aroused, the most interested. Maybe you're most willing to initiate during this phase of your cycle. You're feeling magnetic and magic, and you love red lipstick and going out there and being social. You've got high energy levels and really clear communication skills. I actually find that I'm more articulate during the ovulatory phase than any of them. So why can't we be like this more often? We're just not, and we have to let that go and just really embrace those 3 days of the month where we feel completely sane and turned on. So say yes to social stuff, say yes to sex, but if you don't want a baby, then make sure that you use protection. So my choice is condoms, but you might choose something else that feels more aligned with feeling safe and protected in that sense. So enjoy the warmth, enjoy the fire and the flame, and enjoy the arousal and the lubrication. It's really alluring. The next phase is our luteal phase. So in the luteal phase, it's before we head into menstruation, and it's kind of long compared to the other phases. So we can tend to want to be inside a little bit more. We might want to declutter, and we might want to get all of our kind of administrative affairs in order. During this phase, it can take longer for our arousal to build, for our orgasm to happen, and we might need more full body touch to really come into down regulation. Whereas in, say, ovulatory phase, we can move into penetration quite quickly if we're feeling like we're already there. So during this quieter phase, use your sex to match how you're feeling on the inside. So a bit of a tip is that it'll probably look a bit more like lovemaking than fucking. So more gentle, less thrusty. Menstrual phase, our fourth and final phase. So in our menstrual phase, we gain this sense of very deep clarity and wisdom about where we're at in our lives. And that's sometimes why we feel grumpy and we feel angry, because a lot of what we've been able to swallow or move on from throughout the rest of our cycle has come to the surface during this phase. So what that can mean is that we probably want to keep our bodies quiet. Some women really enjoy sex during their menstrual phase because it allows them to alleviate cramps and some of the discomfort. Some women like to have sex with tampons in and use some other forms of contact and play, and some women just don't want any kind of sexual contact at all. There's nothing wrong with any of those options. They're all options that are completely valid. It's an important time to speak up about whether or not you're receptive to sex because your partner might not know. But gentle movement during that phase is key if you're going to do anything. Just keep it nice and soft and bring some stillness into your sexual touch. Take it really slow. So don't get too frustrated if you're eager for sex, because the follicular phase, which is the first one we mentioned, is just around the corner. So syncing sex with my cycle gave me permission to be changeable and to move in different ways. So do you respond any differently throughout your cycle? Have a think and enjoy the exploration. Bye now.